Multi-exclusive dimensional being Kai with another exclusive. Today's video is going to be about Sun and Libra. Happy Libra Day to all my Libra suns, Libra moons, Libra ascendants. Feel me? And what is Libra? Libra is the way we interact with the world, aka the way we connect with people, places, and things. It's also the descendant sign. It's basically when we coming down and being more compatible and relating more with people, places, and things all around the world. That's also dealing with justice. That's dealing with peace. That's dealing with harmony. That's dealing with sharing ideas, coming together, having harmonious natures. See, when you got the Sun and Libra, everybody gonna be reacting, responding to having balance in their life or finding balance and peace in their life. Feel me? And you know, Libras ain't really with all that drama shit. So cutting out all that drama and all that bullshit that's not needed in your life is basically the time for you to do that now. Especially if you was planting bad seeds, you're gonna start to realize and understand that these things were supposed to be taken care of a long time ago. And if you allow it to basically take construction and take control in your life, of course, you're going to have some uphill battles that you're going to be dealing with as far as how you need to move from point A to point B to point C. Because anything that's basically holding you back is something that you're going to be carrying weight with. And you don't want to basically be doing that shit. So you got to make sure you utilize these concepts and take care of these things so you won't be having no baggage or no weight on your shoulders and shit. And of course, Libra is also, and Mercury is in Libra, so the way we think and communicate is going to be more in a way of balance, more in a way of cardinal air, more in a way of basically, you know, Mercury loves being in Libra, so we're going to be starting to relate to people, places, and things. And it's also a good thing because people, places, and things around the world is going to be waking the fuck up, understanding and understanding and realizing that this quote-unquote agenda is basically bullshit. And of course, they're going to try to find more ways to try to trap people's minds and basically suck up all their power and suck up all their energy. And basically, because these motherfuckers are vampires. So, of course, they're going to try to do things to basically take power and control and try to stop people. So, this is a time to basically start relating to people around the world and get out that whole phase of this fake ass 6 feet shit. The whole point of the 6 feet distance was to basically stop people from coming together and working together and basically being there for each other. Because when we come together, we strong, we powerful. When they work together, they strong and powerful. Look how they took over religion and had people believing in philosophical points of our views and shit, and got people believing in shit outside of them instead of believing in within them. Because when you believe into something outside of you, what happens is you're basically giving your power to that shit. And remember, you got 3 powers, which is creativity, the way you create in life, belief, which is you believing into something, actually be living into it, and of course, imagination, when you imagine things and you bring your imagination together. This where you and other spirits can basically, that other spirits that resonate with you, that was in bodies before you, or other beings that's basically higher than you, can basically come through and work with you. But how they doing that shit? If you're giving your power to something, you're not basically here to create and do things on your purpose. Remember, you're here on this fucking planet for a motherfucking reason. You wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be in this big shape form because if you wouldn't be in this bigger shape and form if you didn't have a fucking purpose. If you didn't have a purpose and you wasn't playing for no reason, then your ass would be a sheep, your ass would be a dog, your ass would be a cockroach, your ass would be a bug, your ass would be a mouse, and you won't basically be doing anything with your motherfucking life. So basically, this is the whole purpose of you basically being here now and taking advantage of these mysteries. This mission, this travel, this expansion, this growth, which is the moon is in Jupiter. And when the moon is in Jupiter, and on top of that, Jupiter and Libra is compatible. So these two work together like entwine mingle. But of course, it's one thing that's being that Jupiter is basically dealing with the cardinal fire, aka the Sagittarius. Moon is in Sagittarius right now. So of course, when the moon is in Sagittarius, that's also dealing with philosophical point of views, our thinking and communication with belief systems, our morals, our principles, us having faith in our life, us utilizing this to basically get from point A to point B and point C. And remember, before we get to Sagittarius, you can't have that without Pluto, which is basically death, transformation, rebirth, generation, coming together, peace, intimacy, also deep healing, spirituality. That's also dealing with the part of the water sign, the moon sign, and you need this shit basically intertwined. Of course, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, so basically, it loves living there, and exaltation is basically where its peace and freedom is at. So, of course, you need to make sure that anything that you're afraid of, or anything that's not working into your construction, you need to basically dismantle this shit in order for you to basically have Sagittarius, which is where you need to find out where your ninth house is. You need to take power and control over that, and you need to basically utilize your principles and your morals to basically set boundaries and make sure things is basically playing out into your spectrum, and not believing or basically following the boundaries all over the motherfucking world, or what they telling you on this day-to-day basis. You need to basically take control over that shit and make sure things is basically flowing into your aspect. This way you won't get too lost into society. And when the moon's in Sagittarius, you need to act more in the way of new experiences, new connections, travel, expansion. Feel me? This can also be a good time for you to get a pen and paper, write down some rituals and spells, learn how to control and do things in your life as far as where you want to be at, or how you want to basically be seen in the world and shit. Feel me? Things like this, you need to basically go outside and pick up the vibration of the moon gazing process. Because when you go outside and moon gaze, you're picking up all the experience and all the spirits that was once embodied. So basically spirits that's coming in here to be birthed into this reality, to basically bring shape and form into this life in some way, shape, or form, whether it be a person, a place, a thing, a motherfucking substance, motherfucking wood, motherfucking tools, sand, water, all this shit. Feel me? This is all dealing with expansion. It's all dealing with growth. Feel me? Take this in consideration when you're walking on the floor every day. This is another being too. And of course, they don't want to always basically be walked on or basically be stepped on and shit. They want to basically move around. One day they're gonna be moved around. That's like being in a motherfucking rock. That's like being a sheep. See, now basically also dealing with a tree. The only way a tree expands is if only it gets knocked down or cut down. Remember that shit. The frequency is going to expand. The feeling and emotion going to expand. But if you too stiff and you basically not having joy or luck in your life, and you taking this shit too serious, you can come back and be a tree in your next life, because you ain't got no expansion, you ain't got no goals, nothing. You just a motherfucking stiff ass person. You too dry. You don't smile, nothing. Feel me? It's good to smile. It's good to be in good spirits and shit. You alive. You in this bigger vessel. Yeah, shit may not always be seeming like things going into your favor, because remember, you in third dimension, which is basically dealing with the lowest level, as far as not the lowest level, but this is the energy, the death stage. So basically, whatever you see in this dimension, in this domain, is basically the bigger construct out of that, until you get to the next life, which is the fourth dimension, where shit is really real. Like time is just basically like up there is like a year is basically a year. Down here is like one day up there. So time is more quicker, things is more faster, things is more fluid, and you basically can take shape and form and do things more considering your way of basically expansion, traveling, basically taking bigger bodies and bigger vessels and bigger cells and shit. Feel me? So it's a difference. So when you get up there, it's a whole nother situation and situation that you basically need to have more experience about. So that's why it's more important to have a lot of experience when you're down here, because if you don't pick up too many experiences, you don't learn too much shit, you're not going to be able to expand. The only thing you're going to do is expand and contrast right back down here to basically have another experience to basically learn shit. So people like in religion, or people just basically atheists or naive and shit, these motherfuckers, they ain't got no clue of what they doing. Feel me? They not aware of nothing. They not using this shit as a bitch. Because when you come down here, you're supposed to use this world as your bitch. I'm talking about females and males. And remember, when I utilize the word bitch, that means a puppet. That means you utilizing your pet. This shit's supposed to work for you. This shit's supposed to clean up your shit. This shit's supposed to be basically valuing you. This shit's supposed to be compromising and coming through with balance with you. Feel me? Justice, peace. Feel me? Harmony. That's what you need to basically be doing. Not getting caught up into religion, reliving, redoing, reincarnation and shit. You need motherfucking Jupiter to expand. You need to go to Jupiter, not to be stupider, but to have more wisdom and more knowledge and more faith within yourself. And of course, if you lack this shit, you're not going to be able to know anything. So when you get to the next life, if you do decide to get there, which may take some time depending on how your mind state is at, depending on what you're basically utilizing or equipping. If you're not basically into that shit, what's going to happen is basically you're going to just go to another domain, pick another shape and form, but it's going to be a smaller shape and form. To the point you might just be a little animal or some shit, or a little bug. But these things are considered like as in a bigger vessel. But the thing is, if you don't really have too much knowledge and wisdom or expansion and growth or faith or optimism, then you're not going to be able to actually utilize this shit and basically expand and basically do things what you want to do. You're just going to be used as a motherfucking puppet or another vessel. So the more conscious, subconscious, and unconscious you're utilizing, the more clarity and clairvoyance that you basically go throughout your day, you more have clarity and more judgment over things, the more you'll be able to actually expand and basically grow. So of course, that's basically what's going on. So of course, later on, the moon will be moving in Capricorn, which is limitations and restrictions, also stability, structure in your life. So you need that shit. So you need to act out on the nature to basically having limitation during that day, and basically not taking things too much seriously as far as being around shit that's not going to help you move. And of course, and timing is very important when we're dealing with moving to Capricorn. But we're going to get to that, though. We about to get into these energies and shit for people, places, and things as far as Aries through Pisces, what you need to basically be working on today as far as what you need to be doing. Even though the moon moves fast, too. The moon stays in the sign for at least 2.5 days, 3 days prior. And then moves on to the to another sign because, you know, the moon is fast, too. So whatever you're doing counts. Everything counts, no matter what. Even if you do fall off on track, get your ass back up, pick your ass back up, because the moon is manifesting, feel me? And when it's the next full moon is going to be October 1st, feel me? And I believe the moon is going to basically be in Aries that day. And of course, it's going to be some new limitations and restrictions on that day too. It's going to be the Lovers card, the motherfucking tarot card too. I remember that. But yeah, when the full moon's in Aries, that's basically gonna be dealing with some that's dealing with rebirth, regeneration. Also, it could be another death too. So you gotta be very careful in these full moons, feel me? Because when full moon is alive, that means the moon is big. It's big as fuck, feel me? So whatever you was doing and whatever spirits is in that moon, they're gonna gravitate towards you, or they're gonna gravitate towards somebody else. So it's all about how your frequency, vibration, and energy is playing out through the day. Are these things high or are these things low? So take that into consideration if you want to basically be high in spirits, or you want to be down here low forever, vibrating low with motherfucking roaches, rats, motherfucking squirrels. Not saying these motherfuckers is bad, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to be expanding and growing, and you want to be a bigger vessel, you want to be like a sun, you want to be a moon type shit. I mean, you want to be basically carrying out the obligations of basically getting motherfucking spirits to basically expand. But let's run through these motherfucking things. So if you got Sagittarius in your first house, you're gonna be relying to personal issues as far as personal expansion, personal growth, personal philosophical point of views. So this is also dealing with passionate personal goals. When we get talking about Aries and shit, this is basically dealing with expansion, and try not to be too overpowering and shit, because people may look at you in some way, shape, or form like, yo, what the fuck? Then you got a moon sign, you're gonna be attracting this energy. Also, when we're dealing with Sagittarius in second house, is basically dealing with expansion, which with value in your goals as far as experiences and shit like that. And then when we got this in Taurus, try to not be too lazy, try to adapt to the changes as far as expansion and new changes, because you don't want to be too stiff and mango and shit. You want to learn how to basically go through more experiences. This way you won't have one spectrum of seeing things in the earth mentality. Add a little bit of fire and a little spirituality with that. And if you got a moon in Taurus, you're going to be receiving this energy from people. Also, when we're talking about Sagittarius in the third house, basically dealing with surroundings and locations, communication. Also, you're going to be more inclined to learning and shit, but try to like look at things one at a time. Try not to basically plant too much seeds, because you're going to be having so many times. Because remember, Geminis is all over the fucking place. So you got to pick one spectrum and attack that, attack that, attack that, attack that. You can't just basically be watering the plants. You're going too fast. If you got a moon in Gemini, you're going to be receiving this kind of energy from people, places, and things. It's going to be reflected towards you. Moon in Cancer, you know, you got to try to basically not be too stagnated, be a little bit more open, be a little bit more expansive. Of course, dealing with fourth house, home, private matters and shit, dealing with expansion into that. Try not to be looked at as someone that's basically just stuck in their ways, feel me? Have more inner feeling and passion, the way you love things, value, appreciate yourself. That's the only way you're going to be expanding. if you got a moon in Cancer, you're gonna be receiving this energy. Also, when this is in Leo, it's basically dealing with self-expression and shit. So finding more ways to be romantic, finding more ways to be at ease. And if you got this in moon in Leo, you're gonna be receiving this energy. So basically, try to add a little bit of fire, feminist. Try not to be too masculine. Try not to be too stiff. Also, when you got this in Virgo, is basically dealing with daily experiences, daily charity and healing, people, places, and things. If you got a moon in Virgo, you will be receiving this healing from people. And this, when this is in Libra, this is dealing with balance, faith, and believing in yourself, and basically try to be less try to not to be relying on idols and shit. Feel me? Try to like be more open to possibilities of being more unique and being more separate, and try to like believe in yourself. Try not to put all your eggs in one basket. If you got a moon in Libra, you're gonna be receiving and telling from people. And also you're gonna be receiving other people's opinions and shit for them to be asking for you. So this is gonna be a little double when the sun is there. And if you got this in your 8th house, it's basically dealing with healing and regeneration, deep healing, things that you need to be looking forward towards. You might be into occult mysticism, studies, and stuff like that. So try to like utilize this for your purposes, and try to like utilize transformation. Things that you are afraid of, you need to be diving deep into that, so you can basically have an aspect and outlook of trying to move and be more expanding, and try to like get out of that rut as far as whatever's holding you back, because you need transformation in order for you to expand. You can't be expanding with shit on you. It's gonna be too heavy. You're gonna get brought down. So also, if you got a moon in Scorpio, you're gonna be receiving these kind of deep investigations from other people coming your way too. And if you got a 9th house, it's basically dealing with principles, philosophical point of views, expansion and growth. Got the Sagittarius. Higher learning is very important to you. Learn how to accept changes and shit. For me, learn how to basically experience more wisdom, and try not to be too observant and shit. For me, you gotta learn how to cross the bridge. You can't just know everything about the bridge until you basically add force. So be more stable, more practical, more grounded. Learn how to analyze the details. For me, don't just look at one way of doing it. Learn how to do it in millions of billions of trillions of ways and aspects, so you can basically get through that shit and have way more clarity and more wisdom, and nobody can tell you shit. You ain't just picking up for what the books say. Fuck a book. Hate reading. Feel me? Your spirit create these motherfucking things. A book is a creation, not a creator. You create these shits. Remember that shit. Also, when you got this moon in Sagittarius, you're going to be receiving outer influences from people, places, and things coming your way, and being more like preachers and shit might be coming your way, to be aware of that shit too. And if we dealing with 10th house, basically dealing with careers, goals, structure, and life principles, and also stability. When this is in Capricorn, having balance and create more structures and goals in your life, and try not to be too, try not to be too stiff. I mean, try to have a little expansion. Try to be more mutable with fire. Don't be stuck into your ways. Don't be your worst enemy and shit, because you might just have a new experience with somebody today, and they will just take your career to a whole bigger shape. Or you may basically do that by you coming down and helping them too. And this can also play out into a bigger aspect too. Or you can have good karma come back your way, instead of having that guilt program and bad karma your way. And when you got the moon in Capricorn, you're going to be receiving this influence from other people, places, and things. And when you got motherfucking 11th house, is basically dealing with interaction with the world, humanitarian goals, symbolism, occult mysticism, astrology. You may be into science during this time. For me, try to find somebody that's going to help you grasp towards your career and that you see in your outlook. Also, don't be too naive, because experience is important during these days as far as Jupiter. And of course, dealing with Aquarius is basically dealing with expanding visionary purposes, obstacles, symbols, and also being open to new possibilities for you to be able to get with people. Try not to be too fixated in your ways of being too detached and shit, because everybody may not be as far as how you look at them and shit. So basically, be open to new opportunities during this time. If you got a moon in Aquarius, you're going to be receiving this energy and influence from people, places, and things. Also, when we talk about, last but not least, Pisces, this is a gift here. And of course, Jupiter is a sextile with Neptune. So Jupiter is basically dealing with the mutable fire, and Neptune is dealing with basically mutable water. So try to mutable this, utilize your mutable, adapt to these changes and shit. Utilize this for spirituality, growth, energy, enhance energy, imagination. And also being there, helping people, places, and things. You could be a guru, a teacher, or whatever. For me, it's the time to basically put your influence on other people. For me, try not to be too boring. Try not to be too lost and shit. Try to, like, you know, be the shit during this time. Cause, you know, a lot of people need this during this time. So you need to put yourself into towards being a teacher or learning from people, places, and things. So this is basically a good aspect. And if you got a moon in the Pisces, you're going to be receiving this influence from other people, places, things, and that's basically it. So, you know, take advantage of these 2-day processes, even though this is the last, well, even though you got to almost 7 p.m. for me, plant some good seeds, put some spirituality work into it, and put some grounding work into it, and you're going to see the obstacles, you're going to see the plant start growing. So, shit, I love y'all.